Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out this morning at 8 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time here in Denver, Colorado. We got some snow last night, but it disappeared. Just a little itty bitty bit of snow left on the ground. Welcome to our daily dose of divine light, divine love, and divine power. And for today, we're talking about divine light. Adriana, super fan, coming on, bringing the heat. I think her name is mentioned in probably more streams than any other stream. She'll go down in history as the most famous of all super fans. Marcos, Namaste, welcome. So for today's aspect of the divine light aspect within us, so we have light, love, and power, which are the essential qualities and natures of the soul. As we talked about before, there are virtues that are connected to those aspects. So one of the virtues I wanted to cover today about the divine light aspect is humility. Because accurate perception, correct expression, and right viewpoint is connected to humility, because it means, hey, there might not be something I see clearly or know clearly or understand clearly with this information. The nuts is in. Does that make sense? So having humility means you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. You know what you're good at, you know what you're not good at. And that is actually a super important virtue to develop. Because if you are stuck in your ways, if you're unwilling to accept feedback, how can you change? How can you improve? How can you become a better person? If you said, no, my way is the best way, all other ways are not good ways, and I'm going to stay like this. What I noticed about Grandmaster Choa, the gentleman you see in the back wall, my teacher, the modern founder of pranic healing or Hatha yoga, is that in spite of his genius, he was always getting feedback from others and feedback from his environment. He was always questioning. He was always saying, is my information correct? And how do I know it's correct? Which requires a sense of humility, which requires a sense of detachment. Because if you identify yourself with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your viewpoints, with your belief systems, with your political stance, with all of the things that in your life, you're not able to see higher levels of truth, Joanna, I'm going to say, or different levels of truth. Does that make sense? So humility is a super, 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 super important virtue to develop. In fact, I'd be willing to say it's the most important virtue to develop, because of all the vices that get in the way of us spiritually evolving, the last vice, not namaste, to go is pride, negative pride. So the opposite of negative pride is humility. Humility gives you good self-esteem, good self-image, and allows you to see something clearly and accurately. So we could do hundreds of streams just on the topic of humility. But again, simply put, humility is recognizing your strengths, recognizing your weaknesses, and then getting closer and closer and closer to accurate perception, correct expression. Elizabeth, Atma Namaste. One of the great questions that Master Choa would always ask, Clara, Atma Namaste, would always ask anybody, is when somebody would make a statement about life, a statement about health, a statement about spirituality, a statement about meditation, a statement about their political viewpoints, a statement about anything in life, he would always follow up with the question, how did, either verbally or in his head, how did you reach that conclusion? Think about that. Doesn't that get to the heart of the matter, that if somebody makes a statement about something and you, as the other party, are trying to understand that viewpoint, if you say, how did you come to that conclusion, you can see how well organized or not organized that person's thoughts, feelings, and actions are. Because if they're giving you information based on opinion that's not grounded in any rationality or logic, then you know you have a faulty opinion, right? But people don't like that. Master Cho used to say, thinking requires lots of effort, lots of time, and lots of energy. But most people don't think, most people just parrot. Most people, she loves that. Most people just parrot. I'll say that again, because we're talking about the light aspect of the soul. Thinking takes a tremendous amount of effort, time, research, experimentation, validation. George, I'm a namaste. So that's why when people reach a conclusion, are they reaching a conclusion because a teacher told them? Are they reaching a conclusion because life experience told them? Are they teaching a conclusion because they're based on a viewpoint that is inaccurate? How did that person reach that conclusion? And if they're able to go, well, the way I reach this conclusion is bam, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, then the person can go, wow, it looks like they thought through this really well, and I can extrapolate the light aspect and benefit my own life. That's what a book is. When somebody sits down and writes a book, God willing, right? Sibel, namaste. We have the expectation that the person has invoked their light aspect with humility. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. They're not talking about a topic that they're weak on, that they have no idea about. They're talking on a topic that they are strong in, that have had life experience, trial and errors, tribulations, experimentation, validation, feedback. So the information you're getting in a book should be of a much higher caliber than just a random conversation you're having with somebody on the street in 5 minutes. Does that make sense? So again, ask yourself the question, how did that person come to that conclusion? And if you study pranic healing or Hatha Yoga and the higher teachings of Grandmaster Toho Koksui, you will come to a realization that everything within this system that took him about 25 years to develop, none of it is arbitrary. None of it. Like, I keep trying to find holes because I'm practicing discernment even as a student. I'm trying to find holes in the system and go, no, he filled in that hole because he did this. He filled in that hole because he thought of this ahead of time. He filled in that hole. Interesting. Right? So you always have to practice discernment. So that is our topic for today. The principle, the light aspect within us, and the virtue from that light aspect is called humility. Knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and asking the question, how did you come to that conclusion? That will save you a lot of time and arguments and fights and disharmony with people. Because look, if you have more than 2 people in a room, you're going to have more than one opinion. And it's okay. It's okay to have different viewpoints because there are different levels of truth and there are different facets of truth. Like a diamond, right? So one person might be sitting on one end of one facet of truth and you're sitting on another facet of truth and you're both arguing, but you're both arguing just a different level of truth or different angle of truth. So a real simple example about levels of truth. So right now I'm sitting in my apartment in Glendale, which is a subdivision of Denver, and Denver is part of Denver County. Denver County is part of Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is part of the United States of America. The United States of America is part of North America. North America is part of the Western Hemisphere, and the Western Hemisphere is part of the Earth. So do I live in the Earth? Do I live in the Western Hemisphere? Do I live in North America? Do I live in the United States? Do I live in Colorado? Do I live in Denver County? Do I live in Denver? Do I live in Glendale? Do I live in this apartment? What's the most accurate? I live in this apartment. But if I told that to somebody out of context, it wouldn't make sense. If I told an international person who asked me the question, where do you live? And I said, I live in Glendale. They would not understand what I'm talking about. They would not understand that level of truth, right? But if I met somebody in Denver and they said, where do you live? I say, I live in Glendale. They go, oh yeah, I know exactly where that is. So who's right, who's wrong? So truth has to be seen from within context. If you don't see it within the context, you can't understand truth deeply. So again, like we talked about in the beginning, we could talk about humility. We could talk about accurate perception, correct expression, which is a virtue of the light aspect of the soul, forever. Grandmaster Chogo Koksui says the most difficult virtue to master is accurate perception, correct expression, honesty and non-lying, and humility. They're all tied in with each other. Ooh, I almost unplugged myself. So anyways, I hope that helps. Thank you guys for joining our daily dose of divine light, love, and power with a focus on light. We'll be doing another stream at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock today, p.m. Mountain Time. And we're going to be doing our Twin Hearts meditation in 20 minutes. There are several Glendales. My brother lives in Glendale, Oregon. Oh yeah, that's right. There are several. I found out, I'd have to validate this, right? How did I come to this conclusion? I have to validate this, but at one point in time, Clinton, which is a city or town, I used to live in Clinton, Massachusetts. Clinton was the most named city/town in the United States. I don't know if that's the case now. This is like 25 years ago and things change. But Clinton, interesting, right? So join us for the Twin Hearts meditation in the next 20 minutes. We'll be jumping on there. Same place, same location. Our opportunity to come together as a group to bless and heal Mother Earth and all sentient beings connected to Mother Earth. And I look forward to sharing that with you. So this is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma, Namaste. Bye-bye.